If you were to ask me to name some of my favorite live-action family films about animals, Homeward Bound would definitely be up there. There's something immediately charming, but also very emotional about this story about two dogs and a cat who travel the wilderness in order to return home to their human owners. This was originally a book simply titled The Incredible Journey, written by Sheila Burnford. Centering around a Bull Terrier, Labrador, and a Siamese cat, it took the interesting approach of only revealing their names at the very end of the book, so it mostly refers to them by their species or breed. Burnford really puts these animals through a lot of dangerous setbacks, which keeps it interesting. I will admit it started to get a little repetitive after a while, but there remains a rooting interest in seeing them return home. There was almost a nature documentary feel to the way the book was written, so it's not surprising that Disney would decide to buy the film rights and adapt it in 1963. They already had a popular series of films called True Life Adventures, which showed animals through the wilderness. The Incredible Journey was even produced by James Algar, who directed a lot of those nature documentaries. The animals don't talk, but rather their thoughts are conveyed via narration. Again, much like the True Life Adventures. This was actually a very faithful adaptation of the book, with only a couple of scenes taken out to fit it into an 80-minute runtime. Much like the source material, the dogs and cat go through a lot of peril, and one has to give the animal trainers credit for getting them to do these stunts and actions. It's overall a pleasant family film that is not one of the more well-known Disney pictures, but I think it's worth a look. In 1993, Burnford's book was adapted again, albeit more loosely, as Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey, and this is the film adaptation I grew up on. I feel it actually holds up, and I would go so far as to say I like it more than the book. The decision to have Michael J. Fox, Don Ameche, and Sally Field voice the animals could have come across as cheesy, but I think it succeeds in humanizing them further. Homeward Bound also focuses a lot more on the family that owns the animals and how they deal with them missing out in the wilderness, which adds to us wanting them to return home and truly turns the film into an emotional roller coaster. Seriously, it is hard to watch Homeward Bound without crying at certain points, with Bruce Browden's rousing and stirring score playing a big part in that. I dare you to watch the ending and not get a little emotional. The film's director, Dwayne Dohan, knows when to tug out heartstrings without making it too schmaltzy. Thus, all of the tears gained when watching this movie feel earned. Probably the most interesting changes from the book are the ages and breeds of the animals. The Retriever is made the older dog and leader of the trio. The Bull Terrier is changed into a bulldog and turned into a younger, mischievous canine, while the Siamese is now a female Himalayan cat. They're also given new names, which actually threw me off guard when I read the book not too long ago. Even with the many alterations from the book, they still throw in a couple of nods to Burnford's original story, including confronting a pack of bears and Chance the bulldog getting hurt by porcupine needles. Homeward Bound is an emotional journey that's absolutely worth taking, and one of those films that deserves to be cited more often as a family film classic. In 1996, Disney released a sequel titled Homeward Bound 2: Lost in San Francisco. The animals got lost again, this time in the big city, and I think it's a solid sequel. This one is more focused on comedy than the drama of the first one, but there's still a bit of emotion to be had, mainly involving a group of abandoned dogs living in a warehouse. Don Ameche sadly passed away after the release of Homeward Bound, but Ralph Waite is a decent replacement. There's a lot of focus on Chance and him falling for a stray dog, and it's a sweet little love story. There's a bit of a cliché here involving a duo of evil dog catchers, which seem to be in almost every family movie about dogs. Seriously, why are dog catchers almost always the go-to villain in these movies? It's also interesting to see how the children from the first film have grown up, particularly how Chance's owner Jamie reacts to him now. Again, the stunts with the dogs and cats are impressive, especially one very emotional scene where Shadow and Sassy save a boy and his pet cat from a burning house. Maybe not quite on par with the first film, but I think Homeward Bound 2 did a good job of continuing the story. And yes, Bruce Browden's score still hits the emotional sweet spot. So if you're willing to shed some tears, all of the Incredible Journey movies are very good, and give Sheila Burnford's book a read sometime if you're interested. Even if you've never had a pet, it's hard not to root for these animals to return back home and get emotional along the way. And if you do have pets, I imagine you'll give them a good long hug afterwards. See you next time.